This is going to look at how he affects our lives, kind of how he's intimately involved in every second of our lives. Philippians 4:6-7 says, "Do not worry at all, but in every matter by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to Elohim." So if you're doing this, you're going to have great peace. If you're actually a believer in the Word of God, you're going to have great peace because of the things that he promises and the things that we're going to see about how he interacts with us. Okay, in every matter, don't worry. Take every matter by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, how you enter into his courts with praise and thanksgiving. You make your requests known to Elohim. And then it says, "And the peace of Elohim, the shalom of Elohim, which surpasses all understanding, shall guard your hearts and minds." So whatever the situation is, because you can bring it before the King of the universe, that brings great peace, knowing that it's all just in his hands. Again, the Dudeks, when they were in the situation where they thought that they had to leave Ireland, they didn't have anywhere to go. They didn't know what they were going to do. But they still had peace through it, knowing that it was in Elohim's hands. And all they desired to do in that moment was to take it to him in prayer, go to their Father for direction. For the rest, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is righteous, whatever is clean, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good report, if there's any uprightness and if there's any praise, think on these. Don't worry about what's going on in the world. Don't look at things that are not good. Don't look at what other people are doing. Don't look at the evil of other men. Look at what is good. Look at what's true, what's noble, what's righteous, what's clean. Look at his word. Don't worry about those other things. Leave them just in his hands, because those things stress us out and they affect us emotionally. And if we're doing these things, then we're stepping just that slight bit outside of his will. It says, "What you've learned and received and heard and saw in me, practice these, and the Elohim of peace shall be with you." So we focus on people like Yeshua, on people who walk the word out. Whatever we've learned and we've received, that's enough for us to be thinking about and going forward with. There's enough in ourselves that we need to bring into conformity with the image of Yeshua for us to think on those things, to read the Psalms, to read the Proverbs, read what's good and true, read what happens at the end. Don't focus on the dark. Psalm 139, 1-18 says, "O Yehova, you have searched me and know me. You know my sitting down and my rising up. You understand my thought from afar. You sift my path and my lying down and know well all my ways. For there is not a word on my tongue, but see, O Yehova, you know it all. You have closed me in behind and before and laid your hand upon me. Knowledge too wondrous for me. It is high. I am unable to reach it." Okay, in all these situations, we just say, his thoughts are higher than our thoughts. His ways are higher than our ways. So whatever's going on, if we think that it's bad, we just being surrendered to him. Take it to him in prayer and petition. Make our requests known, but do not become anxious. "Where would I go from your spirit, or where would I flee from your face, from your panim? If I go up into the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, see, you are there. If I take my wings of the morning, I dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea. There too your hand would lead me, and your right hand hold me." There's people who are watching this, and I know that there will be people who are scattered all around the world, who are isolated and who are lonely. And there's things going on in your life, and you're thinking, what about me? Has Yehovah forgotten about me? Is what's going on now? Well, why is this going on? Yehovah intimately knows every moment of our lives, everything that's happening to us. He knows that it's happening. He hasn't forgotten about us. If I say darkness shall cover me, then night would be light to me. Even darkness is not dark for you, but night shines as the day. As is darkness, so is light. For you possess my kidneys. You have covered me in my mother's womb. I give thanks to you, for I am awesomely and wondrously made. Wondrous are your works, and my soul knows it well. My bones were not concealed from you when I was shaped in a hidden place, knit together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body, and in your book all of them were written, the days they were formed while none was among them. In other words, the days that they were formed were known when they hadn't come to pass yet. And how precious are your thoughts to me, O Ale, how great has been the sum of them. If I should count them, they would be more than the sand. When I wake up, I'm still with you. Psalm 94, 17-23 says, if Yehova had not been my help, my soul would have soon settled in silence. When I said my foot has slipped, your kindness, O Yehova, supported me. When anxiety was great within me, your comforts delighted my soul. But again, we've got to be submitted to the process. We've got to believe the word of Elohim for these things to be true. We've got to believe that this is true for it to be of comfort to us. Will the throne of destruction, which devises trouble by decree, be joined with you? Okay, so again, we think of the rulers. They devise trouble by decree. They make laws that are not good, just as we saw being done by King Darius to Daniel. Okay, well, the rulers to Daniel to do bad things to the believers. Okay, would they be joined with the Elohim though? They band together against the life of the righteous and declare innocent blood wrong. But Yehovah is my defense and my Elohim, the rock of my refuge. Don't worry about the things that they're doing in the world. Don't worry about how they're changing the laws to take the Ten Commandments out of schools, or how they're making it so that you can't worship Elohim. Whatever it is, no matter how bad they make it, even if they make worshipping Yehovah to be done on pain of death, he is our defense and he will protect us. And brings back on them their own wickedness and cuts them off in their own wrongdoing. Yehovah, our Elohim, does cut them off. Psalm 145 says, I exalt you, my Elohim, O King, and bless your name forever and ever. All day long I bless you and praise your name forever and ever. Great is Yehovah and greatly to be praised, and his greatness is unsearchable. Generation after generation praise your works, and they declare your mighty acts. I declare the esteemed splendor of your excellency and the matters of your wondrous works. And they speak of the might of your awesome acts, and I recount your greatness. They send forth the remembrance of your great goodness, and they sing of your righteousness. Yehovah shows favor and is compassionate, patient and great in kindness. Yehovah is good to all, and he has compassion on all his works. All your works give thanks to you, O Yehovah, and your kind ones bless you. They speak of the esteem of your kingdom and talk of your might, to make known to the sons of men his mighty acts and the esteemed splendor of his kingdom. Again, his works achieve this in the earth. They achieve his name being exalted and made great, and all matters work together for good to those who love him and are called according to his purpose. Your kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and your rule is throughout all generations. Yehovah is supporting all who are falling and raising up all who are bowed down. The eyes of all look to you expectantly, and you are giving them their food in its season, opening your hand and satisfying the desire of all that live. Yehovah is righteous in all his ways and kind in all his works. And as Yeshua said, he's kind even to the unthankful. I'll just recap for the people who are online. Okay, basically what I'm looking at is how intimately involved in our lives Yehovah is. In everything, absolutely anywhere that we go, anything that's happening in our life, Yehovah knows about it, and it's his will that it's happening. Now, we're going to have a look at reasons why bad things might be happening and things like that, but absolutely don't think that he's ever forgotten about you. Well, he doesn't know what's going on, even if you think that it's bad. I'm sure Jeremiah, when he was in the dungeon, must have thought, what on earth is going on? Okay, so verse 17 says, Yehovah is righteous in all his ways and kind in all his works. Yehovah is near to all who call upon him, and to all who call upon him in truth. He does the desire of those who fear him, and he hears their cry and saves them. Yehovah preserves all those loving him, but all the wrong ones he destroys. And this is kind of like a persistent theme. Okay, he will preserve the people who love him and fear him. He'll preserve their life unto eternal life. The wrong ones he'll destroy. Going back to the idea of don't fear him who can kill the body, fear him who can kill the body and soul. Because even if it's part of his plan for you to give your life because you will not deny him and you will not deny his name, he will still preserve you. He'll still preserve your life unto life eternal. But the wrong ones, whatever they do, they'll be destroyed. So don't find yourself in a situation and think, I've got to do something to save my own life here or to make something about my life better or more comfortable. If it involves breaking the word of Yehova, absolutely do the word of Yehova and do evil to yourself, if you like. It says that he let them suffer hunger in the wilderness to test them, to see what was in their hearts. Okay, so even if we've got to suffer hunger in order to do what he says is righteous, we just see it as a test. He's not forgotten about us. He knows exactly what's happening in that situation. All he's trying to do is see those who love him and who are the wrong ones. My mouth speaks the praise of Yehova, and let all flesh bless his set-apart name forever and ever. Proverbs 19:20-23 says, listen to counsel and accept discipline so that you're wise in your latter end. This is the other thing which is involved in these things. There's having just weights and measures. There's not lying. There's also accepting discipline. Because it could be in that situation that it's discipline that's happening in your life. We'll see those four sort of things around it. Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the counsel of Yehova that stands. And we're going to be looking at what it is for us to make plans in our heart about what to do. Are we to wait on every decision and be like, I'm just waiting for Yehova to tell me what plan to make in my heart? Plans are in our hearts, what we decide to do. The counsel of Yehova that will stand in the end, though. What is desirable in a man is his kindness. A poor man is better than a liar. So also what we see around these things is kindness. The fear of Yehova leads to life, and he remains satisfied. He is not visited by evil. Proverbs 16:1-9 says, to a man belongs the preparations of the heart, but from Yehova is the answer of the tongue. So we make our plans. Yehova will establish them or not. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but Yehova weighs the spirits. Commit your works to Yehova, and your plans shall be established. Yehova has made all for his purpose, and also the wrong for the day of evil. So as we go through this, what we're going to see is we make our plans, and we don't know which plans are going to succeed and which plans are going to fail. But we do what is according to our heart. But we remember through all of it that for all of our works, he will bring us into judgment. Okay, so we commit our works to Yehova. We remember that for all of them, we'll be brought into judgment. If we do that, then he'll be with us. Everyone proud in heart is an abomination to Yehova. Hand to hand he goes not unpunished. By kindness and truth crookedness is pardoned, and in the fear of Yehova one turns away from evil. When a man's ways please Yehova, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. And we saw that with Jeremiah, we saw it with Daniel, we see it all the way throughout Scripture. Better is a little with righteousness than a large income without mishpat. I think as I'm going through the Torah portions, I'm just going to put the word mishpat in there instead of judgment or right ruling, because they don't really get it. The English concepts aren't really mishpat. Mishpat is Yehovah's idea of what justice is. In whatever situation, you do whatever justice is. It's kind of like righteousness, but it's doing right by other people, doing what is just in the situation. A man's heart plans his way, but Yehovah establishes his steps. An oath is on the lips of the king. In mishpat his mouth trespasses not. A right scale and balances are of Yehovah. All the weights in the bag are his work. It is an abomination for kings to commit wrongness for a throne is established by righteousness. Okay, just like King Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, he was told, if you do these things, if you do righteousness, you show favor to the poor, then it might be that it's extended. Now this is really interesting. It says, righteous lips are the delight of kings, and they love him who speaks what is straight. Okay, this is talking about rulers, talking about people in positions of power. people who've got money. Okay, all of these people are used to people coming to them and lying to them and twisting things and trying to manipulate them and trying to get something out of them. I've worked with somebody who was in a position where he had considerably more wealth than the people under him. And they would always be coming to him to try and get money out of him in one way or another. And obviously he hated it. You could see right through him. He was an intelligent guy. But I would always speak what was true and what was right to him, even when it was the exact opposite of what he wanted to hear. But he really respected that. And you'll find that with people like this. Don't try to say something that you think they want to hear. Don't try to manipulate it at all. Do what is right. Don't lie. Have a right scale and balances, whether it's with somebody who's rich or whether it's with somebody who's poor. Always just walk straight down the line with them. Kings, rulers, people of power love righteous lips. They love him who speaks what is straight, because more or less they're just not used to it. Proverbs 20:24 says, "The steps of a man are from Yehova." What does a man know about his own way? It's quite an interesting one, isn't it? Jeremiah 10:23-24 says, "O Yehova, I know the way of man is not in himself. It is not for man who walks to direct his own steps. He makes the plans of his heart, but he submits them to Yehova." If he's one of Yehovah's people anyway. "O Yehova, chastise me, but with mishpat, with justice. Chastise me justly, not in your displeasure, lest you bring me to naught." Again, it's where you're going to end up. You're going to be chastised in his displeasure and you're going to be destroyed, or you're going to be chastised by him and brought back onto the path where your body and soul will not be destroyed. Ephesians 2:8-10 says, "For by favor or by grace you have been saved through belief, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of Elohim. It is not by works, so that no one should boast." Okay, Elohim shows favor to whom he will show favor. "For we are his workmanship, created in Messiah Yeshua unto good works, which Elohim prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." But if we just do what is right, like Jeremiah, he was like, okay, I'm just going to go and do what Yehova has told me to do. He spoke to him and said, go to this place. He went out of the gate, he got captured, he found himself in prison, but he was just doing what was right. Daniel, who just went about his life doing what was right, praying to Elohim, doing the things that are right in Elohim's sight, and then he was known so that in that particular situation, he was called upon. Okay, these things have been prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Okay, Yeshua was slain before the foundation of the world. That was a work that was prepared beforehand that Yeshua should walk in it. Ecclesiastes 11:4-9 says, "He who watches the wind does not sow. He who looks at the clouds does not reap." Okay, so if you're looking for signs before you do something, you're not going to do it. "As you do not know what is the way of the wind, or how the bones grow in the womb of her who is with child, so you do not know the works of Elohim who makes all." Okay, we're not going to be able to prefigure out everything that Elohim's going to do. We just get on and do stuff. "Sow your seed in the morning, and until evening do not let your hand rest, since you do not know which prosper, this or that, or whether both alike are good." You don't know what's going to come. Don't know what's going to work, what's not going to work. Just get on and do it. "Sweet also is the light, and good for the eyes to see the sun. But if a man lives many years, let him rejoice in them all. But let him remember the days of darkness, for they are many. All that is coming is futility." So we're told to remember the word of Elohim, to do right, basically. It says, "Rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart gladden you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and in the sight of your eyes, but know that for all these Elohim brings you into mishpat." You just got to do what's just, but walk in the ways of your heart according to the sight of your eyes. Just do the things that are in front of you. But know that in doing them, you've got to walk straight. You've got to walk correct when you do them. James 4:13-15 says, "Come now, you who say today or tomorrow, let us go to such and such a city, spend a year there and trade and make a profit. When you do not know of tomorrow, for what is your life? For it is a vapor that appears for a little and then disappears. Instead of your saying, if the master desires, we shall live and do this or that. But now you boast in your proud speeches. All such boasting is wicked. This word desires is his will. What's often translated as his will. Okay, so when we say, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, we don't just proudly state that that's what we're going to do, because we make the plans of our heart, but he establishes our steps. So we make the plans in our heart and we say, if Yehova wills, we will do this or we will do that. Anything else, all such boasting is wicked in just declaring, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. Psalm 37 says, do not fret because of evildoers. Do not be envious of the workers of unrighteousness, for they soon wither like grass and fade like green plants. Again, the theme that's throughout all of this, you've got the people who will end up in Sheol at peace and at rest, even if they've got to give their lives for that. And then you've got the wicked who are just going to pass away. Trust in Yehova and do good. Dwell in the earth and feed on steadfastness. Delight yourself in Yehova and let him give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to Yehova and trust in him, and he does it. You make the plans in your heart, he establishes your steps. And he shall bring forth your righteousness as the light and your mishpat at midday. If you're trusting in him and you're doing his word, you're doing what he says is righteous, he's going to bring forth your righteousness. You will then be doing righteousness because you've trusted in him and committed your ways to him. Rest in Yehova and wait patiently for him. Do not fret because of him who prospers in his way, because of the man doing wicked devices. Don't look around and say, look at all of these people, they're doing so much better than we're doing, because they're not. Don't look at them and be envious of them. Abstain from displeasure and forsake wrath. I like that. Oh no, I was doing wickedness, but at the moment I'm going to do good because, I'm abstaining from displeasure. I'm abstaining from the wrath of the Lord at the moment. Do not fret also to do evil, for evildoers are cut off, but those who wait on Yehova, they shall inherit the earth. And this is a theme that we'll see throughout this, about inheriting the earth. Okay, don't fear those who can kill the body. Fear him who can kill the body and soul. Yet a little while and the wrong is no more, and you shall look on his place, but it is not. For the meek ones shall inherit the earth and delight themselves in plenty of peace. The wrong plots against the righteous and gnashes his teeth at him. Yehova laughs at him, for he sees that his day is coming. The wrong have drawn the sword and have bent their bow to cause the poor and the needy to fall, to slay those who walk straightly. So again, they devise these things against the righteous. Okay, they've drawn their swords, they've bent their bow. Their sword does enter into their own heart, and their bows are broken. Better is the little of the righteous one than the riches of many wrongdoers. For the arms of the wrongdoers are broken, but Yehova sustains the righteous. Yehova knows the days of the perfect, and their inheritance is forever. They are not ashamed in the time of evil, and in the days of scarcity of food, they are satisfied again. But the wrongdoers shall perish, and the enemies of Yehova, like the splendor of the meadows, they vanish. Like smoke, they vanish away. The wrongdoer is borrowing and does not repay, but the righteous one shows favor and gives. For his blessed ones inherit the earth, but those cursed by him are cut off. You see the theme all the way through. Don't worry about anything that they're doing, okay? They're going to be cut off. They're not doing better. They're going to be dead at the end of it. Worry about your own way. Better is a little with righteousness than the riches of those people. The steps of man are ordered by Yehova, and he delights in his way. Though he falls, he's not cast down, for Yehova is his supporting hand. I have been young and now I'm old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging bread. All day long he is showing favor and lending, and his seed is for a blessing. Turn away from evil and do good and dwell forever. Okay, the actual goal of everything, not your immediate circumstances. Dwell forever, have eternal life. But Yehova loves mishpat, and does not forsake his kind ones. They shall be guarded forever, but the seed of the wrongdoers is cut off. The righteous shall inherit the earth and dwell in it forever. The mouth of the righteous speaks wisdom, and his tongue talks of mishpat. The Torah of his Elohim is in his heart. His steps do not slide. The wrong one is watching for the righteous and is seeking to slay him. Yehova does not leave him in his hand or let him be declared wrong when he is judged. So the evil, they'll be trying to do harm to us. Yehova is the one who's in control of all of that, and he will not let them. Wait on Yehova and guard his way, and he shall exalt you to inherit the earth. When the wrongdoers are cut off, you shall see it. I have seen the wrongdoer in great power and spreading himself like a native green tree. Again, it kind of harkens back to the imagery of the dream that we had of the big tree. Yet he passed away, and see, he was not. And I sought him, but he was found not. Watch the perfect and observe the straight, for the latter end of each is shalom. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The latter end of the wrong shall be cut off. But the deliverance of the righteous is from Yehova, their strength in the time of distress. And Yehova does help them and deliver them. He delivers them from the wrongdoers and saves them, because they took refuge in him. Proverbs 3, my son, do not forget my Torah, and let your heart watch over my commands. For length of days and long life and peace, shalom, they add to you. Let not kindness and truth forsake you. That's an interesting one as well. Like the idea of I'm abstaining from wrath. I'm abstaining from Yehovah's displeasure. Don't let kindness and truth forsake you. Yehovah's kindness and truth, don't let them forsake you by straying from the Torah. Bind them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart, because if you do this with the commandments, then kindness and truth will not forsake you, but it's your choice about how you live. Thus finding favor and good insight in the eyes of Elohim and man. If you find favor and good insight in the eyes of Elohim, his kindness and truth will not forsake you. But you also find it in the eyes of man, and we see examples of that throughout Scripture. Trust in Yehova with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. This is exactly what the Dudeks were doing, isn't it? Okay, they could have lent on their own understanding. They could have gone about it and tried to make things the way that they wanted them to be. And they could have thought, wow, great, we've got this, we've got the stamp on our passport. Oh, we got it 3 days early, and now we're in a load of a mess. Know him in all your ways, and he makes all of your paths straight. Exodus 11, 2-3. Speak now in the hearing of the people, and let every man ask from his neighbor, and every woman from her neighbor, objects of silver and objects of gold. Okay, what do you think would happen if you went next door and knocked on the door and said, have you got any silver or gold? If you have, I'd like very much if you gave it to me. Okay? It would be a nonsense, wouldn't it? But if Yehova gives us favor in their eyes, he can do whatever he wants. We're never to look at our situation and despair and say, well, that's the end of it. If I follow Yehovah's word here, I'm going to find myself destitute. I'm going to find myself poor. Yehovah gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrites. And the man Moshe was very great in the land of Mitzrayim, in the eyes of Pharaoh's servants and in the eyes of the people. If he wants to give you favor in somebody's eyes, he can do it in a second. We've seen this happening to people when they've gone over their jobs and they've said, I need 9 days off so that I can go to Sukkot this year. This is just a bizarre thing, isn't it? That people would never grant to anybody else. And yet they're given favor in the eyes of these people. They love those who speak straight. They love those who speak righteousness. Probably don't even know why they like it or why they're even doing the things that they're doing. John 9, 1-3. This brings us to illness. Okay, because what is it in our lives when we're ill, when we have illness? What are the things, what are the possibilities? As I say, received a number of emails about this. People kind of, what's going on, Lord? I'm walking in your ways. John 9, 1-3 says, and passing by, he saw a man blind from birth. And his disciples asked him, saying, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he should be born blind? So they instantly, as many people do, go to sin first and say, who was it that sinned in order for this man to be born blind? And the sin of people's parents can cause them to have defects. I knew somebody who had had no arms. He had hands, but he had no arms. And he couldn't walk properly. He had to walk on a walker. And it was because his parents were heroin addicts. His mum was a heroin addict when she was pregnant. And so he was born with that affliction. So you could absolutely see it just in that regard. But Yeshua answered, saying, neither this man nor his parents sinned, but that the works of Elohim might be made manifest in him. So when we look at our situations, I've had great healing in my life. I've had neurological condition healed, and I've had my eyes healed. Charlie's had his liver healed back to the liver function test of a baby after being an alcoholic. And what I've observed from those sort of things is when Yehovah's got some kind of purpose that he wants to fulfill in it, then he will bring healing. If I'd continued with that neurological condition, I wouldn't have had motor functions, and any intellectual capacity would have been greatly diminished. And he healed me of that. And now I'm able to do the work for his kingdom, and Charlie's able to do the work for his kingdom. So that was the theme that I've observed there. But when people are in those positions and they're thinking, well, I've got something wrong with me, and it's not being healed, and I've looked at myself and I can't find anything wrong with me, so why have I still got this condition? Like, I'm diabetic. It can massively affect my life every day. I know for a fact that if Yehovah wanted to, it would be nothing for him to just go, oh, you're healed. There you go. Great. Go on, do whatever you're going to do. But perhaps, and this is a possibility that we all have with things in our lives, perhaps it's so that the works of Elohim can be made manifest in me. Perhaps he's going to heal me at some miraculous point in the future. The point isn't that I think he's going to do that. The point is that I don't know why that is the situation. And we're not to look at things in despair. What we're to look at them and know is that Yehovah knows about that situation. And he wants it to be that way for whatever reason. His ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. And we are to just accept it. And accepting it is actually perhaps the point in the trial in the first place, as we'll get onto. But it could be so that the works of Elohim are made manifest in us. Not good for us to focus on this and go, well, it's going to be this amazing thing. He's going to heal me one day. Maybe that's true, but we leave it in his hand and submit to him. In 1 Corinthians 11:27-32, we see another possibility. It says, so that whoever should eat this bread or drink this cup of the master unworthily should be guilty of the body and blood of the master. Okay, so when we come together and we remember him, and we eat bread and we drink wine, we do so to remember him. If we do it unworthily, it brings about bad repercussions. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. For the one who is eating and drinking unworthily eats and drinks judgment to himself, not discerning the body of the master. Because of this, because they were doing this, many are weak and sick among you, and many sleep. Many are dead. He's writing to an assembly saying, look, many of you are dead because you don't do this worthily with the body and blood of Yeshua, the symbols of that. For if we were to examine ourselves, we would not be judged. But when we are judged, we are disciplined by the Master that we should not be condemned with the world. So this is a real possibility. People tend to just do this like it's just a religious act. Like it's just like, oh, it's bread and wine. We'll all get around together and we'll have some bread and we'll have some wine. And they don't really understand what's happening. And they'll do it in a position where they've got sin in their lives. And they'll just be like, oh, well, obviously that doesn't matter. I'm just going to have the bread and wine because it's bread and wine time. This is given to us as a reason why many are sick. In Job, we're going to see perhaps the point that I'm trying to make with this, and the point that really comes through when people have an enduring disease, it can be to bring this out of people. Okay, questioning who Yehovah is. In the Young Literal Translation of Job 1:8, it says, and Yehovah said unto the adversary, Ha-Satan in Hebrew means the adversary, hast thou set thy heart against my servant Job, because there is none like him in the land, a man perfect and upright, fearing God and turning aside from evil? So Hasatan's given the ability now to trouble Job and to take things from Job. And at the end of chapter 1 it says, "And Yehova rose up and tore his robe and shaved his head, and he fell to the ground and did obeisance." This is after he's had his kids taken from him and all his stuff taken from him. Everything's just gone terrible for Job. Well, he rises up, tears his robe, shaves his head, mourning ritual before the Torah was given. And he said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I return there. Yehova has given, and Yehova has taken away. Blessed be the name of Yehova." In all this, Job did not sin or ascribe wrongdoing unto Elohim. So we see in these situations that Hasatan will come, and he'll try to get us to either sin, to go against Yehova, to totally rebel, or to ascribe wrongdoing to Yehova for our situation. Oh, he's taken all this stuff away from us. It's Yehovah's fault. Why is Yehova doing this? So this is what the adversary is trying to get Job to do, but he can't get Job to do it by taking his stuff away from him. Job 2:3-6, it says, "And Yehova said to Satan, to Hasatan, have you set your heart against my servant Job? Because none is like him on the earth, a perfect and straight man, one who fears Elohim and turns aside from evil. And still he holds fast to his integrity. And you move me against him to destroy him without a cause?" And Hasatan answered Yehova and said, "Skin for skin, and all that a man has, he would give for his life. But stretch out your hand, please, and strike his bone and his flesh, if he would not curse you to your face. So afflict him in his body. If you afflict him in his body, we'll see how good his faith is." Okay? And many people are afflicted in their bodies, and many people turn to questioning Yehovah. They forget that he is intimately involved in everything that's going on in their lives, and they begin to question him. Yehovah said to Hasatan, "He is in your hand, only spare his life. Don't kill him. Afflict him in his body, but don't kill him. We'll see what kind of a man Job is." After this, Job opened his mouth and cursed the day of his birth. And Job spoke and said, "Let the day perish on which I was born, and the night it was said, a male child has been conceived." And we might think, well, at least he's not cursing Yehovah. But what he is doing is he's questioning Yehovah, and he's questioning his plan, that what he's doing is right. Cursed be the day that I was born on, instead of submitting to him and trusting in him. And he says, "Why does he give light to the sufferer and life to the bitter of soul, who are waiting for death, but it does not come, and search it more than treasures, who rejoice exceedingly when they are glad when they find the grave? Why does he give light to a man whose way has been hidden and whom a lower has hedged in?" And people absolutely find themselves in this position where they're like, why is he doing this? Why would he do this? It's not right that he does this. Job 4:3-6, his friend rebukes him and says, "See, you've instructed many, and you've made weak hands strong. Your words have raised up him who is stumbling, and you've strengthened the weak knees. But now it's come to you, and you're impatient. It strikes you, and you're troubled. Is not your reverence, your trust, the integrity of your ways, your expectancy?" Okay, so he says to him basically, look, you've counseled many people through similar things like this. You know that Yehovah's in charge. You know that your ways are right before him. Is that not your expectancy? Is that not what you trust in, your reverence of Yehovah? It's come to you, though, and now you're questioning Yehovah. Job 5:17 says, "Look, blessed is the man whom a lower does reprove. So do not despise the discipline of the Almighty." They presume that it's Yehovah's discipline. And you will often find this with illness as well. People will either tell you that it's because you've not got enough faith, or because Elohim is disciplining you because you've sinned, something like that. But we don't know why Elohim does these things. And as I say, sometimes it's to bring this out of people, where they will question who he is and why he's doing the things that he's doing. Job 6:1-3 says, "And Job answered and said, Oh, that my grief were thoroughly weighed, and my calamity be placed on the scales, for it would outweigh the sand of the sea. Therefore my words have been rash." So in the situation we're talking about, it's like, if only you could know how bad this affliction in my body is, how bad this illness that I'm suffering is. It's so terrible That's why I'm saying the things that I am against Yehova. He tries to justify himself. Teach me and I shall be silent, and show me where I've gone astray. Words of uprightness are harsh, but what does your reproving reprove? Do you reckon to reprove my words and the saying of one in despair, which are as the wind? So it's like if we went to somebody who was suffering great sickness, and they'd said, if only you could appreciate just how bad this was in my life. You say, look, you can speak these things to me and say that I should trust in Yehovah, but what are you hoping to achieve through this? All that you're reproving are the sayings of one in despair. You're not reproving somebody who's doing something wicked. So at this point, Job won't recognize that he's doing wickedly. Job 7:12-21 says, am I the sea or a sea monster that you set a guard over me? And he really starts to lay into Yehovah at this point. When I say my bed does comfort me, my couch does ease my complaint, then you frighten me with dreams and make me afraid with visions. Be like, when I seek comfort in my bed because of my illness, I'm in discomfort and I turn over and my side hurts and, whatever the situation is. But ascribing it to Yehovah, so that my soul chooses strangling death rather than my bones. I have wasted away, I would not live forever. Leave me alone, for my days are a breath. What is man that you should make him great, and that you should set your heart on him, so that you should visit him every morning, trying him every moment? How long do you not look away from me, nor leave me alone till I swallow my saliva? Have I sinned? What have I done to you, O watcher of men? Why have you set me as your target, so that I am a burden to you? Why do you not pardon my transgression and take away my iniquity? For now I lie down in the dust, and you shall seek me, but I am not. If I've done something wrong, why don't you forgive me? Why don't you show me what it is that I've done wrong? Why are you troubling me? Why are you doing this to me? If I'm righteous, my mouth would declare me wrong. Am I perfect? It would declare me perverse. Am I perfect? Do I not know my own soul? I despise my life. Man's innocency is not to be condemned by afflictions. It is all the same. Therefore I say, he destroys the perfect and the wicked. He says, what are you doing? Are you going to condemn me by afflictions, my innocency in everything that I've done? I'm the perfect, not just the wicked. So I say now that he destroys the perfect and the wicked. If the scourge slays suddenly, he laughs at the trial of the innocent. Earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. He covers the faces of its judges. If it is not he, then who is it? His friend Zophar the Amathite said, should the multitude of words go unanswered? Should the man of lips be declared right? Should your babbling silence men, and should you mock and no one make you ashamed? Since you've said my discourse is flawless, and I have been clean in your eyes. So his friends come. He's in great affliction. He's in great pain. Got whatever physical condition wrong with him. And they're telling him what's right. They're saying to him, basically, you're going on and on and on about this, and you cursing Yehovah and you're accusing Yehovah. Should that silence us? Then Yehovah himself answered the Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Job says, Yehovah, should the reprover contend with the Almighty? Let him who reproves a lower answer it. And Job answered Yehovah and said, see, I am insignificant. What would I answer you? I lay my hand over my mouth. Once I have spoken, but I have no answer. And twice, but I say no more. Okay, at this point, even still, he's not repentant. Elohim's basically come to him, explain to him that he doesn't know what he's talking about. And even at this point, Job's like, all right, I'll shut up. Fair enough. But later, and I'd suggest that people read Job chapters 38 through 42. Job answered Yehovah and said, you know that you are able to do all, and that no purpose is withheld from you. Who is this that hides counsel without knowledge? Therefore, I declared, but I did not understand. Matters too marvelous for me, which I did not know. Okay, and I would say to anybody who is watching this online, who is ill, look at Job's attitude. Okay, if you've come to a point where you're despairing and you think, I just can't go on with this pain or whatever it is, know that Yehova has brought that about in your life for a purpose. And this is one of the purposes that he has. When you start to question him, has Hasatan been given the authority in your life to afflict you so that you begin to question and so that you begin to ascribe wrongdoing to Elohim? Begin to think he's forgotten about you or whatever. I declare, but I did not understand matters too marvelous for me, which I did not know. Listen, please, and let me speak. I ask you, then would you make it known to me? I have heard of you by the hearing of the ear, but now my eye sees you. Therefore I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes. I had an intellectual knowledge of who you were, and I knew that I should trust in you, and I knew this, that, and the other. But now I understand, because these things have been brought to bear. Therefore he repented. And that's my advice for anyone who's in this situation, who has found themselves questioning Yehova. Whatever it is, whatever reason he's doing it, maybe he's doing it to make his name great in the eyes of other people. Whatever it is, though, it doesn't matter. Even if it results in your death, stay true to him and know that you will find rest and life eternal. Something interesting for us to consider in all of this, in the fact that we do get ill. Okay, all of us get illnesses, and it's not all because of any of these reasons. Deuteronomy 28, the curses that come from disobedience to the Torah, it says, if you do not guard to do all the words of this Torah that are written in this book, to fear this esteemed and awesome name, Yehova your Elohim, then Yehova shall bring upon you and your descendants extraordinary plagues, great and lasting plagues, and grievous and lasting sicknesses. And he shall bring back on you all the diseases of Egypt, of which you were afraid, and they shall cling to you. So when he took them out of Egypt, he took away all of the diseases that afflicted them. They were under his protection, if you like, when they were in the land. This particular part of the curses is right at the end, when they've just disobeyed and disobeyed and disobeyed, and it's got worse and worse and worse. And right at the end, he says, this is what I'm going to do. Take away your protection from these things. The diseases of Egypt are going to afflict you again. Also, every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this Torah, Yehova does bring on you until you're destroyed. And you shall be left with few men, although you have become as numerous as the stars of the heavens, because you did not obey the voice of Yehova your Elohim. And it shall be that as Yehova rejoiced over you to do good and increase you, so Yehova does rejoice over you to destroy you and lay you waste. And you shall be plucked from off the land which you go to possess, and Yehova shall scatter you among all peoples from one end of the earth to the other. And there you shall serve other gods which neither you nor your fathers have known, wood and stone. So he says, I'm going to remove my protection of the diseases of Egypt, and then I'm going to scatter you across the world. Where are we now? We're scattered across the world. We've not been gathered back to the land. The diseases of Egypt do cling to us, and it's part of the curse. It's part of what we are to recognize in knowing that we've sinned and that Yehova is righteous in the things that he's doing. We're to look at our situation in the land that we dwell in, and we're to say, this is terrible. Among those nations you are to find no rest, nor have a resting place for the sole of your foot. But there Yehova shall give you a trembling heart, failing eyes, and sorrow of soul. And your life shall be hanging in suspense before you, and you shall fear day and night, and not be certain of your life. We would be certain of our lives if we were living in the land under his protection, millennial kingdom or whatever. But while we're scattered, we're not to be certain of our lives. The diseases of Egypt do cling to us. He is able to heal us. He is able. But it's up to him whether he does or not. And whether he does or not, we're certainly not to ever get to the point where we question him. Luke 17, 7-10 is the last scripture that I'll look at in regard to this. But we tend to think, don't we, we've been righteous. We should have our reward from the master. We've done what's right. We should have our reward now. But who of you, having a servant plowing or shepherding, would say to him when he's come in from the field, come immediately and sit down to eat? For would he not rather say to him, prepare somewhat for my supper, gird yourself and serve me while I eat and drink, and afterward you shall eat and drink. Serve me And afterward, you get your reward. Would he thank that servant because he did what he was commanded? I think not. So also you, when you've done all that you were commanded, say, we are unworthy servants. We have done what was our duty to do. We don't look and say, we've done everything that we're commanded, therefore we should have all these great things from Yehova. No, we continue to serve him. And afterward we will receive the reward. But, we know that he's compassionate, he's kind, he's merciful. I'm not saying that he's just absolutely not going to do anything for us, but it's not to be expected of him.